Hello for the 30th week in Ordinary Time, using the book of Exodus 22, 20 to 26, and Matthew 22, verses 34 to 40. And it deals with the laws, the Jewish laws and our laws, and the law of Christ. You know, when I was first ordained back in 1965, in the late 60s, there was a survey taken in the Roman Catholic United States, and they asked them the question in the law, what is more important, loving your neighbor or not eating meat on Friday? And you know, 50% of the Roman Catholics in the United States in that survey said it was more important not eating meat on Friday. Wow. Have we sometimes strayed away from the law of love and the law of Christ? The Jewish people had 613 laws that they were to know and practice. And these laws dealt with their diet, and dealt with their eating habits, their hygiene, and their worship. And they were to know these very much and deeply. One of the laws, most important with the Jewish, that in the morning the men were to greet the sunrise with their loving God with their whole heart, mind, and soul. And another law in Leviticus was loving your neighbor as yourself. And the law in Deuteronomy that the Pharisees asked Jesus, what's the most important law? He quotes Deuteronomy 6, and there's 5 verses here that I find interesting. Jesus said, and he quotes, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Take to heart these words which I enjoin on you today. Drill them into your children. Speak of them at the home and abroad, whether you are busy or at rest. Bind them at your wrist as a sign. Let them be a pendant on your forehead. Write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates." That's what's known as the phylacteries. They would put some of the law in a little box and tape it around their head, or on their arm, or on their doorposts of their homes. And Jesus says, those 2 are the most important of all the 613 laws. Laws are supposed to lead us in the right direction. And so the Pharisees asked them this question. Jesus was a good Jew. And Jesus was a good Jew who tried to reform Judaism, not to start another religion, but we know in due time he did. And they had all of these laws, and he felt that sometimes, or often, they were stressing the less important laws as opposed to loving your neighbor as yourself and God with your whole heart, mind, and soul. Well, we Catholics have an awful lot of laws too. When I went into seminary, there were over 2,400 laws in the Roman Catholic Church. And around in I think it was around 83 or something, after the Vatican Council, the Church came out with a new book of laws called the Code of Canon Law. And in this code, there are 1,752 laws for the Roman Catholic Church. I challenge you, name 5 of them. But we too are no different than the Jewish people. We Romans, can emphasize the less important laws and miss the big picture, loving neighbor as self and loving God. For us older people here, we remember a Vatican II Council, 1961 and 1965, where the popes have said, we're starting to emphasize the wrong thing in this modern world. We need to get back to the basics and to Jesus. And so that council tried to reform Roman Catholicism. Some people hated it, some people loved it. Some people are thinking that they had to give up their religion with this new religion. It wasn't new. It was new emphasis. We people can start emphasizing some of the less important things and making that the banner or the must. Or if you really are a Catholic, you really do these. I think Jesus would come back, quote the Old Testament, quote his life, quote loving neighbor, quoting forgiveness. All of that, I think, he would do today. But today, we have a new Pope. And I think a new emphasis. And I think this new Pope Francis is emphasizing different laws or different priorities in the Roman Catholic Church. I say maybe he has a list of 10 laws, priorities that he's doing. And he's not only saying and talking about, he's not doing new doctrine. He's not changing the doctrine in Roman Catholicism. He's doing new things, new insights, new ways that he thinks are really the important things in our religion. How many laws do you have in your life that are really important? Do you have 10 laws of the church or 10 laws of Christ that are really important? Like maybe the Pope does? I think that's a good question, because it's very easy to get off the track of what is important. If you and I conform to the inside of Jesus, and right now I think sort of the inside of the new Pope, I think if we conform to the mind and heart and the action of Jesus, I think we'll be happier. We'll be better people. And people will even be happier with me and enjoy me more. What are the real laws in your life that you are trying to follow? Have a good day.